Hello dear friends, welcome to another interesting audio-visual session of EPG Pathshala. I'm Shashi Negi. I'm teaching political science to the students of undergraduates and postgraduates in the Department of Evening Studies, Punjab University, Chandigarh. Today I'm going to discuss comparative politics with a special reference to advanced societies with you. In this particular chapter, I'm going to discuss how comparative politics have been evolved with the passage of time, what is the nature of comparative politics, and how dynamic it is, how it keeps on changing from one period to another period with the different context. After that, we are going to see the characteristics or features of comparative politics in the different phases. In the end, we are going to study the various limitations and problems to study the comparative politics which we are facing in the present period. The concept of comparative politics is not new. This concept of comparative study, we can trace the history of comparative study from Greek period, when Aristotle has made comparative study of 158 constitutions, and he came up with the conclusions that which kind of political system is the best one. But the nature of comparative politics or comparative political analysis in today's world is totally different from that period. At that time, comparative study which made by the Aristotle was quite speculative, it was normative in nature. But in today's period, we are having comparative political study which is quite empirical in nature, which does systematic comparative study of various political systems and provides us with the different results. It tries to build social theories which can be applied at universal level or cannot be. Yes, comparative politics as a sub-discipline of political science has become one of the most important sub-discipline in today's period to study or compare the various political systems. We are going to unfold how comparative politics is playing really important role in the political studies in order to study various political institutions, political structures, political activities, phenomena in the world through the help of this particular chapter. Let's move to the main content of chapter. We are going to discuss this chapter in 5 different parts. In the first section, we are going to discuss meaning, definition and origin of comparative politics. In the second part of chapter, we are going to discuss changing nature of comparative political analysis in 3 phases. These 3 phases are pre-modern phase, modern phase and postmodern phase. In the third part of the module, we are going to study the differences between traditional viewpoint and the modern viewpoint of comparative political analysis. In the fourth part of the module, I am going to highlight the importance or significance of the study. And in the fifth section of chapter, I am going to throw some light on various problems and limitations of comparative politics. That is, what is comparative politics? Comparative politics is a discipline that systematically analyzes and compares the political phenomenon and activity of various political systems. This study is value neutral and empirical by nature. This studies interactions within political systems. Comparative study is mainly concerned with the power relationship between individuals, groups, organizations, classes and institutions within political systems. It studies the power configuration within systems and external influences on internal structures. Comparative politics is analytical and empirical investigation of government and political system. The study is value neutral by nature and studies interactions within political system. According to Karamani, as all scientific disciplines, comparative politics is a combination of substance and method. Comparative politics, unlike comparative government, includes the study of all types of formal and informal political facts, which in any way influences the working of political system. Defining the concept of comparative politics presents with the following characteristics of comparative political analysis. Comparative politics is analytical and empirical investigation of government and political system. Comparative politics is study of infrastructure or total environment of political system. Comparative politics of contemporary period put more emphasis on the study of developing societies and local level studies. It is not attached to any special values. It has no normative aspects. Comparative politics does vertical as well as horizontal comparisons, and the major objective of comparative politics is to build theories in social sciences. What comparative study includes as its subject matter? The subject matter of comparative politics is the result of behavioral revolution which came in the study of political science in the beginning of 20th century, whereas study of comparative government has started earlier. According to Karamani, as all scientific discipline, it includes combination of substance and method. Comparative politics put emphasis on both the method of inquiry and substance into which inquiry is directed. It is the substance of comparative politics which has given comparative politics its distinctiveness both as a method and as a specific field of study. Let's move to the second part of chapter where we are going to discuss nature and scope of comparative politics in three different phases. These three different phases are: first phase is the pre-modern phase where we are going to study evolution of comparative politics from Aristotle to 17th century and nature of comparative politics in 18th and 19th century. Second phase is known as modern phase where we are going to see the development of comparative political analysis in 20th century. Post-modern phase is the third phase, which is also known as post-behavioralist phase. This phase starts after 70s. First phase, traditional viewpoint of comparative politics. In its earliest incarnation, the comparative study of politics comes to us in the form of studies done by Greek philosopher Aristotle. Aristotle studied the constitutions of 158 states and classified them into a typology of regimes. His classification was presented in terms of both descriptive and normative categories. These Aristotle's categories were acknowledged and taken up by Roman thinkers such as Polybius and Cicero, who considered them in formal and legalistic terms. Concerns with comparative study of regime types reappeared in the 15th century with Machiavelli. In the Renaissance period, Machiavelli used the comparative method of study in his writings, The Prince and the Discourses. Later on, French philosopher Jean Bodin undertook a comparative study of government of various European states. After the origin of comparative politics, it remained in a state of dormancy for several centuries. It was revived only in 18th and 19th century with the work of Montesquieu, which deeply influenced the constitution making process in USA, France and other Western countries. He used the comparative method for analyzing law and politics. He made a comparative study of British and French system of governance and formulated his theory of separation of powers. In the 19th century, J.S. Mill and E.F. Freeman made good efforts to compare the state and governments. They also made contribution to develop comparative method. A.D. Tocqueville took forward the practice of comparative study with his work Democracy in America. By the end of 19th century, comparative study of government took a new shape with various works of political scientists. Let's discuss the features of comparative politics in pre-modern times now. The main goal of this comparative analysis was to establish classifications and typologies. The subject was discussed in a purely descriptive, historical or legalistic manner. It had thus adopted a rather limited methodology. Government study was smaller in number and all were falling in a single cultural pattern. The traditional approach to comparison was highly normative, mostly ethnocentric, and used comparisons in an anecdotal way. The scholars of the sub-discipline put almost exclusive emphasis on the study of governmental structures and the formal organizations of the state institutions. Traditional approach was non-comparative, descriptive, parochial and static. The comparative politics of this time has been considered as the comparative government. Let's move to the modern period now. Nature and scope of comparative politics in modern period. Comparative politics in earlier 20th century. The obsession with philosophical and speculative questions concerning the good or the ideal state and the use of abstract and normative vocabulary persisted in comparative studies till late 19th and early 20th century. The late 19th and earlier 20th centuries signified the period when liberalism was the dominating ideology and European countries enjoyed dominance in world politics. The rest of the world of Asia, Africa and Latin America were either European colonies or under their sphere of influence as ex-colonies. Major comparative works of this period like James Bryce's Modern Democracies, Hermann Feiner's Theory and Practice of Modern Government, J. Friedrich's Constitutional Government and Democracy, Robert Michels' Political Parties and M. Duverger's Political Parties, largely concerned with the comparative study of institutions, the distribution of power and the relationship between the different layers of government. These studies were Eurocentric. These were only confined to the study of institutions, government and regime types in European countries like Britain, France and Germany. All the history of this period kept Europe at its center and ignored the rest of the world as people in the rest of the world is without histories, or the histories of these people were bound with and destined to follow the trajectories already followed by the advanced countries of the West. Thus, the work done until 20th century manifests their rootedness in the normative values of Western liberal democracies, which carried with its baggage of racial and civilization superiority and assumed a prescriptive character for the colonies and former colonies. Development of comparative political analysis after mid-20th century, where there was the adoption of behavioral study. The comparative study of government till the 1940s was predominantly the study of institutions, the legal constitutional principles regulating them and the manner in which these institutions and regulations functioned in Western liberal democracies. A powerful critique of the institutional approach emerged in the middle of 1950s. The critique had its roots in behavioralism, which had emerged as a new movement in the discipline of politics, aiming to provide scientific attitude to discipline and develop a science of politics. Known as the behavioral movement, it was concerned with developing an inquiry which was quantitative, based on survey techniques, involved the examination of empirical facts and separated from values to provide value-neutral, non-prescriptive objectives and explanations. Features of comparative politics in modern period. It emphasizes on value-free political study. Only those values are admitted whose validity can be scientifically demonstrated. It rejected the normative approach of traditional viewpoint. Modern viewpoint of comparative politics stresses more on analytical and empirical investigation. It was no longer confined to descriptive studies. The aim of modern view is to explain an empirical and objective theory of politics capable of explaining and comparing all the phenomena of politics. Modern viewpoints stressed on formal as well as informal structures and political processes, political behavior. It stressed on study of developing areas and societies. Comparative politics in modern period started on focusing on horizontal as well as vertical comparisons. It involved comparative study of political systems of various nations and also compared political systems and subsystems at work within a single state. Modern viewpoint of comparative political analysis laid emphasis on interdisciplinary approach to study political systems. Concepts like power, influence, and authority, which distinguish political system from another system, are included as the subject matter of comparative politics. Scholars of comparative politics examine minutely the role of political authorities, political violence, and political corruption. Now let's move to the third phase, that is comparative politics in postmodern phase. Towards the end of 1970s, modernization, developmentalism, and behavioralism and other approaches of modern era came under criticism for favoring abstract models which flattened out differences in specific political, social, cultural systems in order to study them within a single universalistic framework. Two main challenges to developmentalism arose in the early 1970s and gained widespread attention. These were dependency and corporatism. In 1970s, political system has started losing its importance and the state started receiving its share of attention in the 70s. The state has regained its importance in postmodern era. Postmodernists stressed the need to concentrate on solutions to the backwardness of developing countries. In the postmodern era, the concept of civil society has also gained more importance in comparative political analysis. Comparative study of this period focused on the various civil society activities like resurgence of people's movement seeking autonomy, right to indigenous culture, movements of tribals, and the environmental movement. Concerns with the issue of identity, environment, ethnicity, gender, and race have provided a new dimension to comparative political analysis in contemporary world. Globalization and its impact on comparative political study. Globalization and other emerging trends in 1980s led to the complete shift in comparative political analysis. Period after 1990s witnessed a move away from general theory to emphasis on the relevance of context. Hence, we see a new emphasis on more currently specific studies, nationally specific countries, and even institutionally specific studies. Comparisons at smaller level systems or regions have persisted. Globalization made great developments in the field of information and communication technology. This has made the production, collection, and analysis of data easier and assured also their faster and wider diffusion. Let's move to the problems and limitations of comparative politics. Comparative political analysis is heavily dependent upon other subfields of political science for its approaches, methods, and concepts. In comparative politics, there is no longer any central body of literature and any coordinating grand theory. It does not have any autonomous status. Comparative politics is methodologically and epistemologically dependent on other subjects. Universally acceptable results are not possible in comparative politics because political economy and social conditions of every country are diverse, as the problems of developed countries are not similar to developing countries. The adoption of interdisciplinary approach in comparative politics has so much widened the scope of this subject that one is often faced the difficulty of knowing that subject of political analysis included and what it excluded. It is difficult to draw boundaries in the subject of comparative politics. There is no consensus among scholars regarding the meaning or terminology of comparative political analysis. Comparative politics is suffering from the ambiguity as social scientists use concepts according to their own specialized knowledge. Serious difficulties are being faced by the comparative political analyst while collecting information and data about the political system and other non-state institutions. Wide range of characters of background variables, role of norms, institutions and behaviors in government and cross-cultural studies are again creating problems for comparative political analysis. Political behavior is not concluded on a rational basis or scientific principles. Therefore, doing systematic study in comparative politics is more difficult. The concept of political institutions and nation state in comparative politics are facing the challenges from the capital, technology, cultural practices, cross-country labor migration, monitoring of human rights violations, military interventions and autonomous movement from below. This signifies that the idea and the institution of a culturally homogeneous nation state which had come to pervade political thinking since the 18th century are in crisis. Let's sum up the whole chapter. As a subdiscipline of comparative politics, subdiscipline of political science, comparative politics builds the social theories which help to establish a society which is better and which provides a stable political system and social system. The nature of comparative politics, we have seen it was quite dynamic, as in the earlier pre-modern period, it was more speculative, ethnocentric, Eurocentric. It was not based on any scientific method, or it was more value-based. But with the passage of time in modern period, the nature of comparative politics has been changed and it has become more and more scientific and systematic. In the behavioral period, it has widened its scope and it included formal as well as informal structures of the society. It didn't ignore any of the cultural and social aspect. It included all the cultural, social, political and economic aspects in order to study political institutions. It was interdisciplinary in nature. And this study has widened the scope by making study more and more empirical and analytical in nature. But post-modernist and the post-behavioralists criticized the modern period for being more and more like life sciences and ignoring the values and the cultural or social aspects of the society, because the political and other institutions or political activities are not only being modified by the political system, but yes, social cultural aspects are also playing a really important role in this. Therefore, this modern period comparative political analysis has been criticized by postmodernists. One can see that the whole concept of comparative politics is not errorless and it was criticized by many other thinkers. There is the criticism for the comparative politics that it lacks the autonomous status. It is dependent on philosophy, political science and other social science subjects for its epistemology, and it is not having any kind of self-assertiveness. Yes, and the second criticism for the comparative politics is it lacks the unanimity among the various comparative political thinkers, because most of the comparative political thinkers, they define and give meaning to the various concepts according to their own knowledge, and comparative political analysis failed badly to come up with the universal theories or meta-narratives. These criticisms are accepted by comparative political analysis and comparative political scientists openly, and comparative political science is becoming more reflective and open-ended for the criticism. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you.